Stop hoping your next engine is going to be a good one. Because in 2026, reliability isn't about brand loyalty anymore. It's about which engines were designed before the extra complexity arrived and quietly decided to stay forever. So I pulled 13 engines with a genuine track record for taking abuse, accumulating miles, and not converting every minor leak into a 4-figure repair bill. Some of them are deeply boring on paper. That is entirely the point. Stick around, because one of these is the kind of engine people sell by mistake and spend the next 5 years trying to find again. Number 1. Toyota 2.5-liter 4-cylinder 2AR-FE. Did you know one of the most dependable engines on the road is one nobody brags about at the pub? Because it spends most of its life hiding inside Camrys and RAV4s? That's the Toyota 2.5-liter 2AR-FE, and it's essentially the engine equivalent of paying your bills on time, going to bed at a sensible hour, and never doing anything interesting whatsoever. It makes 178 horsepower, which is not a number that makes anyone's pulse quicken. But that's precisely why it lasts. No turbo heat to manage, no clever hardware waiting to become expensive, just a calm, naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, doing the same job every single day without complaining about it. It feels like the last truly normal Toyota engine. Before Toyota discovered that complication sells. Parts are common, repairs are straightforward, and your mechanic isn't guessing. You'll deal with a water pump eventually, maybe some coil packs, possibly a minor seep somewhere. What you won't deal with is bottom-end drama at 180,000 miles. It's not exciting, it doesn't need to be. Number 2. Honda K-Series K20/K24. You won't believe how many K-Series Hondas are still alive and functioning, purely because this engine has an extraordinary tolerance for irresponsible ownership. Late oil changes, cheap filters, regular excursions into the rev limiter, mild overheating incidents that would hospitalize most modern engines. And the K20 or K24 still starts on Monday morning like nothing happened. The K-Series has a well-earned tuner reputation, which actually tells you something useful. These engines get beaten on by people who enjoy beating on engines, and they survive anyway. That's not a coincidence. It comes down to a robust bottom end, a simple, naturally aspirated layout that doesn't panic under heat, and Honda's fundamental engineering competence during the period when Honda was absolutely at the top of their game. Real-world ownership notes. Watch for timing chain rattle, which usually points to a lazy tensioner that's been ignored longer than it should have been. VTEC solenoid leaks are common and annoying rather than catastrophic. Valve cover gaskets weep. None of these are catastrophic. They're the kind of maintenance a car earns after a decade of misuse. Buy one with service history and a previous owner who at least knew what oil was. It will reward you handsomely. Number 3. Toyota 1.8-liter 4-cylinder 1ZZ-FE. If your goal is the lowest possible cost per mile, the 1ZZ-FE is genuinely hard to argue with, because the entire car can cost less than a single modern turbocharged engine repair. There is, however, a trap. Some production years of the 1ZZ are known for oil consumption issues that range from slightly annoying to genuinely problematic, so you need to do your homework on the specific year you're considering. A good one can feel smooth and tight at 200,000 miles. A bad one eats a quart of oil between fill-ups and pretends not to notice. Why it became a commuter legend is simple enough. It's naturally aspirated, accessible for basic service work, and it keeps running even when it's clearly tired. These engines live in Corollas and Matrix models that people buy for £3,000 and run for another 6 years without a second thought. That's not glamorous. For a lot of people, it's exactly what they need. Check the dipstick on a test drive. Add oil, drive it, check again. The 1ZZ will tell you everything you need to know in about 20 minutes. Number 4. GMLS Series 5.3 liters V8. There's a reason the 5.3 LS V8 ends up in everything from working pickup trucks to engine swaps in vehicles it was never designed for. It is, functionally speaking, the cockroach of V8 engines. Unkillable everywhere, and somehow still going strong decades after it probably should have been retired. People hear V8 and immediately assume expensive to run. The twist with the 5.3 LS is that it might actually be one of the cheapest long-term engine choices available because parts are so abundant and so cheap that the economics work in your favor even when things do go wrong. pushrod layout, enormous production volumes, and a design that shrugs off heat, towing loads, and inconsistent maintenance better than most modern engines that cost twice as much. Reality check on ownership. The Active Fuel Management System, AFM, which deactivates cylinders to save fuel, is the known weak point, and lifter failures connected to AFM have affected a meaningful number of engines. Budget for this possibility, or better yet, seek out non-AFM years, or have the system deleted by someone who knows what they're doing. Beyond that, intake manifold leaks and snapped exhaust manifold bolts are common enough to be on your checklist. Listen for a tick on cold start. Scan for AFM-related misfire codes before you buy. The ecosystem of parts, knowledge, and mechanical support around this engine is genuinely part of what makes it reliable, which is an unusual thing to be able to say, but here we are. Number 5. Volkswagen 1.9-liter TD, ALH. Did you know there are ALH TD is out there with 500,000 miles on them, where the body has given up long before the engine showed any real interest in doing the same? You'll hear diesel and instinctively think enormous repair bills and complexity. The ALH, built from 1997 to 2003, comes from a simpler era, before diesel emissions equipment turned these engines into rolling chemistry experiments. The injection system is mechanical and comprehensible. The turbo is small and sensibly sized. The whole engine is built around the concept of steady, low-stress work, done consistently over a very long time. It's happiest cruising at motorway speeds all day, sipping fuel, making modest but useful torque, and generating very little heat in the process. It isn't quick. Nobody has ever bought an ALH TDI for the thrill. But it is genuinely hard to kill if you maintain it correctly. And that maintenance point is non-negotiable. Timing belt service on this engine is not optional and not something you defer. An ALH with a snapped timing belt becomes an ALH with bent valves and a very expensive afternoon. Verify full service records including a complete timing kit replacement, not just the belt, the whole kit before you purchase. Everything else on these engines is manageable. That one item is not. Number 6, a Mercedes-Benz OM617 diesel. You've heard the stories about old Mercedes diesels that start after sitting outdoors for 3 years, in conditions that would have finished a lesser machine. The OM617 is the engine behind those stories, and the stories are largely accurate. It's slow. It clatters at idle in a way that makes bystanders check their surroundings nervously. People hear that diesel knock and read it as weakness. It isn't weakness. It's a naturally aspirated 5-cylinder diesel with mechanical injection that was quite deliberately overbuilt during a period when Mercedes took that kind of thing seriously. Maximum power output is somewhere between 77 and 123 horsepower, depending on the variant. Maximum potential lifespan is apparently somewhere north of 1,000,000 kilometers if you're patient and consistent with maintenance. Problems on surviving examples are almost entirely age-related. Cracked vacuum lines, sagging engine mounts, external leaks, glow plugs that need replacing. Annoying to sort out, but none of it is structurally significant. The engine itself isn't the issue. Check for excessive blow-by at the oil filler. Watch cold start smoke color. A little is normal, a lot isn't. Check how the automatic transmission shifts, because gearbox problems on these cars are expensive in ways the engine rarely is. Ask for maintenance records, and if none exist, price that into what you're willing to pay. Number 7. Toyota 22 R/22 RE. If you've ever seen an old Toyota pickup still doing actual truck work with high mileage and no apparent intention of stopping, there's a reasonable chance it's running a 22R or 22RE. This is the engine that took everything a working life could throw at it and largely declined to care. They're not powerful, around 100 horsepower in standard form, and people try to compensate for that with modified carburetors, aggressive timing adjustments, and cheap aftermarket headers. This is the wrong approach because the whole reason you bought one of these was the reliability. And those modifications are precisely how you compromise it. The timing chain setup is simple, but the guides do wear, so listen carefully at idle for a sharp metallic rattle from the front of the engine. Check coolant condition. These engines don't like running warm, and an ignored cooling system will eventually find a way to remind you of that. Keep an eye on the temperature gauge consistently. Change the oil on time. Do those two things and a 22R will likely outlast your interest in owning it. Number 8. Toyota 2TRFE. This is an unusual one. The 2TRFE is a relatively modern engine, but it feels like it was designed by engineers who were specifically imagining scenarios where the nearest mechanic is a very long drive away. It doesn't get attention or praise because it doesn't live in sports cars or performance vehicles. It lives in Hiluxes, Land Cruiser Prado derivatives, and commercial vans in markets where the truck is a tool and downtime has real financial consequences. The accumulated abuse of commercial driving, constant load, rough roads, inconsistent fuel quality, long operating hours, is genuinely punishing, and the 2TRFE handles it without making a fuss. Worth knowing, steady, sustained load is actually easier on an engine than constant short trips with cold starts. Keep up with oil changes, maintain the coolant, and the 2TRFE has very little reason to cause you trouble. Not exciting. Exactly what it's supposed to be. Number 9. Nissan VQ V6. The VQ is one of those engines that generates strong opinions, and a fair amount of the negative ones are really criticisms of the cars it was installed in, or of the owners who ran them without adequate oil. Context matters here. What the VQ genuinely does well is deliver strong, naturally aspirated power across a broad torquey range. In a design Nissan refined and updated for over 2 decades, which means the rougher early edges were progressively smoothed out across production. A well-maintained VQ in a stock application, with the right oil changed on schedule, is a significantly more reliable engine than its reputation sometimes suggests. Legitimate concerns. Some applications develop timing, chain guide noise as they age, valve cover gaskets leak onto hot exhaust components, which smells terrible and eventually becomes a fire risk if ignored. And catalytic converter issues affect certain models. Buy a stock, properly maintained example, and it genuinely feels like an engine that's been holding back on you, which, in the best possible way, it has. Number 10. Honda B Series B16/B18. Here's something counterintuitive. Some of the toughest engines ever produced are the ones people have been bouncing off the rev limiter for 30 years. The Honda B16 and B18 have spent their entire existence being asked for one more pull, and they are still largely asking what took you so long. That sounds backwards. High RPM operation is usually how you shorten an engine's life. The B Series is the exception because these were engineered to spin, light reciprocating components, strong for the era internals, and a naturally aspirated layout that produces peak power at the top of the rev range rather than treating high RPM as an emergency. The aftermarket and knowledge base surrounding these engines is so extensive that you can rebuild one with a reasonable weekend, a credit card, and a YouTube subscription. Current ownership issues are almost entirely age-related. External oil leaks, distributor and ignition system wear, cracked engine mounts. The bottom ends of well-maintained examples are still fundamentally sound after decades of abuse that would have destroyed most modern engines. That's either impressive engineering or very good luck. Given Honda's track record at the time, probably the former. Number 11. Mazda Skyactiv G 2.0/2.5 liters. People assume newer engine automatically means more things waiting to break expensively. The Skyactiv G challenges that assumption, because Mazda designed it to be modern without being gratuitously complicated. The high compression ratio, on 13:1 to 14:1 depending on variant, sounds alarming on paper. You'd reasonably expect it to knock, to be fussy about fuel quality, to hate normal driving conditions. Real-world ownership experience doesn't reflect those concerns. The engine makes genuinely decent power without relying on forced induction, and removing a turbocharger from the equation removes a meaningful source of long-term expense and complication. Be straightforward about direct injection and carbon buildup, though. All GDI engines accumulate carbon deposits on intake valves over time, and the Skyactiv G is not exempt. Short trips and prolonged idling accelerate the process. Spark plugs and ignition coils matter more than people realize. Follow service intervals properly, use quality oil, and listen during cold starts for anything that doesn't sound right. None of this is extraordinary maintenance for a modern engine. It's just maintenance done correctly rather than deferred indefinitely. Number 12, Ford 300 Inline 6. If you want one engine that feels like it was specifically designed by people who found reliability failures personally offensive, it's the Ford 300 cubic inch straight 6. It isn't fast, it isn't remotely fashionable, it was never intended to be either of those things. It was intended to start in freezing temperatures, pull a loaded trailer up a grade, idle for hours on a job site, and do all of that with maintenance practices that would make an engineer wince. And it did. For decades. In applications ranging from farm trucks to delivery vehicles to construction equipment, the Ford 300 simply refused to acknowledge that conditions were difficult. The inline configuration is inherently well balanced, the power output is modest and low stress, and there's enough space in the engine bay to actually access the components that need servicing. Which sounds trivial until you've spent an afternoon on a modern transversely mounted engine, wondering whose idea this was. These engines lived through dirty air intakes, extended oil change intervals, and overloaded beds that would have collapsed lesser engines. If you're buying one today, distinguish between the carbureted and fuel-injected variants. The EFI versions are generally preferable. Check for vacuum leaks, verify steady oil pressure, and inspect for blow-by. A good one turns an old, cheap truck into a tool that simply works. That was always the point. Number 13. BMW N52 Inline 6. Most people apply the same reliability assessment to every BMW engine, regardless of which one it is, which is like refusing to eat at an entire restaurant chain because you once had a bad experience with the dessert menu. The N52 naturally aspirated inline 6, produced from 2004 to 2015, sits in a specific sweet spot. After BMW had fully refined the straight 6 layout they'd been perfecting for decades, but before turbocharging, everything became the answer to every question, whether the question needed answering or not. The result is a smooth, naturally aspirated inline 6 that feels considerably more expensive than its current used market price suggests, and that rewards consistent, on-time maintenance in a way that turbocharged successors simply don't. The known weak points are real, and you should budget for them, honestly. The electric water pump and thermostat are where items that need replacing proactively rather than reactively. Waiting for them to fail is how you cause additional damage. Oil filter housing gaskets seep, valve cover gaskets leak. Ignored oil leaks on any BMW eventually become something worse than an ignored oil leak. Maintain it properly, address the small issues before they become large ones, and the N52 is one of the more rewarding engines on this list to own. Buy one that's been neglected because the previous owner thought BMWs were unreliable, and you'll quickly understand how that reputation gets built. In 2026, engine reliability is less about which badge is on the bonnet and more about whether the engineering team was allowed to do their job without being overruled by a cost accountant, and whether the previous owner read the service manual or used it as a coaster. Pick the right engine from the right year with the right history, and it will outlast most of the reasons you needed a car in the first place. Subscribe, because next time we're doing something considerably more interesting, which will probably involve considerably more things going wrong.